Hello and welcome to another episode of the Electric Norwegian. I'm Mats. Today we are in a VW ID7. It's a saloon car. It starts at around 60,000 euros. It's a bit somewhere between a Model 3 and a Model S. It's the last car in the ID range, at least so far. And they fixed a few things and improved a few things. And as some of you know, I love saloons. So how is this gonna work out? First impressions so far, the seats are fabulastic, and I really mean that. They're really nice. And well, as you can see, it's snow absolutely everywhere. This car is a little bit narrower than my S, and it has the same brilliant turning circle that all VW ID cars have had. And that's nice now, because every road is very narrow because it's snow everywhere, at least the small roads. And the interior in this one, the early ID cars had this kind of got a lot of flack for cheap stuff, cheap materials, and yeah, there's some of it in here as well, but it's overall a lot better than before. Of course, at around 60,000 euros, this isn't a cheap car by any means. It will come as a station wagon, hooray! Eventually, I think the whole thing is delayed a little bit, but anyway, it's a rear-wheel drive version. This with 286 horses and 550 newton. It's quiet, it's refined, it's comfortable, it's powerful enough. Like the old Model S I own. Yeah, you can sort of sense it's rear-wheel drive, but it's not a problem. It just takes you where you need to go. So, and the small screen integrated in the dashboard here, it's just so neatly integrated, and it's normally I sort of argue that the steering wheel is always in the way of what you want to see on your instrument cluster. Not so here. It's very nicely placed, and all the information, the most important anyway, is placed so you see it. And the screen actually works this time, and they've back illuminated the dials for the climate controls, thankfully, and all of that stuff. So they've actually made a system that works, and the haptic buttons feels better. I know they're going back to physical buttons probably in the next generation. This is said so. There's still a bit of piano black here, but overall they've done a proper job of it. Really good. And yeah, the big glass roof, it's airy and relatively light in here, even though it's a dark interior. Also the ambient lighting helps to lift the feel of it. So we're at 76%. It shows an indicated 278 kilometers. Plenty. I think it's 11 kilowatt onboard charger. 170 or 80 peak on fast charging. It's an 88 kilowatt hour battery pack. It's supposed to do, I think the WLTP of it is 500 and something kilometers. It's a lot anyway. The competitors to this is Tesla Model 3 is a competitor. Oh, that's the EU Ding Dong. The already mentioned Xpeng P7. I've driven the P7. It's been a few years, and it's been heavily revised since then. I hope to get my hands on one soon. And also the BYD Han. To a lesser degree, the EQE and the i4. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're not really that far off, size-wise anyway. Of course, when it comes to the interior, the ID, no, the i4 is, I just absolutely adore the interior on that car, because I've drove the i4 M50, which definitely is a lot cheaper. Definitely is a lot more expensive than this. And the interior, the ID, no, the i4 is 50, which definitely is a lot cheaper. No, definitely is a lot more expensive than this. And the interior, the ID, no, the i4 M50, which definitely is a lot cheaper. No, definitely is a lot more expensive than this. So, of course, the BYD Horn costs around the same. It gives you much more power, gives you 4-wheel drive, gives you a fabulous sound system. This is a hatchback though. I don't think the Horn is a saloon, yes. So that's a drawback. Of course, here you have, well, it's a VW product, so we have the dealership and all of that stuff. And also I feel it's a proper job, this one. It's been a bit of a half-assed project in some ways, the ID project. The ID cars, not the cars themselves so much, but it's been a bit cheap interior and expensive price, and software hasn't been exactly where it needed to be. But now it is. And now you get the impression that if they slapped a Passat name on it, it would be fine, and then people would take that and run with it. It's a bit sad they haven't really. I've been playing around with the screen a little bit, and it's nice and easy to find your way around. Not perfect, but good, and more intuitive than some cars, and a lot better than before. I've argued a little bit with the wireless Bluetooth. It worked first time around, and then I listened to a bit of radio, and then I tried to reconnect with it, and I didn't want to. So now I run it through Bluetooth, since the wireless CarPlay just didn't want to reconnect for some reason. It connected on the phone, but not on the screen. Don't know why. I do enjoy this kind of minimalist approach to the instrument cluster. You have your head-up display and your small instrument cluster and your screen, and it's not too much information. It's what you need, and it's not in your face. It's not distracting. It's not. I turn all the lights down here a little bit lower as well. And I wish I could. I really wish someone would reinvent. Saab had something called night mode, I think it was called, and you just turned off everything except for the light on the speedo. That's what you need. So, but hey, whatever. It's someone will do it at some point. Nice. And now we're running with the full high beam on. You can just see how it blocks out and how it's full LED matrix, and it actually works. Mostly, anyway. Why can't all cars have this? The lights seem to be good, not groundbreaking and perfect or anything. It's better than a standard halogen light anyway. So, depending on what you come from. If you come from a Mercedes with the super duper German lights, it's probably not very good. If you come from a Kia EV6, for instance, with crappy, dreadful, awful, hateful halogen lights, these are brilliant. So, yeah. Once again, reference points. The back seats are good, spacious enough for me. I'm almost 1 meter 90 centimeters tall, long legs, but good space for my legs and for my feet, and the nice seating position. Also spacious. I don't touch the roof with my head. The boot is decent enough. It's deep, and it's there's not much of a well in it, but you know, it is what it is. There's no frunk, because Germans, and also the hood weighs about a ton, so I'm sure they could take out at least 20 kilos by making it lighter. God knows what they use in it, Panzer steel or something. It's unnecessarily heavy, but it is what it is. But as a driving experience on these wintry roads, I'm trying just not to chuck it around. I'm not going to crash it. But it feels safe and predictable, and it doesn't scare you. And if I brake now, that's the ABS kicking in, and the seat retainer and everything, and I can still chuck it around, and it won't go anywhere. It's not a sports car. It's not It's not a BMW i4, or probably neither the i5. I haven't driven the i5, but it's not meant to be that. It's meant to be a safe, predictable family saloon, which it is, and it's a very good one. No, it doesn't have the leather of the BYD Han and the wow factor. Thankfully, in a way, it doesn't have the mediocre interior of the Mercedes EQE, which, granted, that was in the AMG version, which is why it felt very overpriced. But it still felt like this is done a better job of the interior than the Merc did. It's plenty of space in here. You have a shelf under the. It's the kind of almost standard electric car double-decker thing with the cup holders on top and your phone charger, and then you have your storage under there, and also you have under the armrest. It's a big, deep, spacious place. Wonderful, love it. Also in the back seat you have the screen there for some probably ventilation, and you have your USB sockets. Also you have two USB-C sockets in the front. Consumption is 293 watt hours, by the way. It might scream at that. Oh my god, that's high. Right now it's 6 almost only minus 6 degrees Celsius. We had minus 14 earlier. So and the climate is on 21.5 degrees, and I'm thinking, you know, I don't think that's too bad at all. We've been in a queue, we've been start-stopping because I've been filming the rear seats and stuff, and I don't think that's bad at all, actually. It's well handled in here, the ding-dongs. A ding-dong is what you need, it needs to do, and I always say Tesla does ding-dongs very pleasantly, because it doesn't scream at you, like some Asian cars tend to do. This is even better, because it's softer somehow, and less... it's nice, I like it. I really, really like this car. Design-wise, the car, it looks good, I like it. It's kind of a sleek modern saloon, and okay, there's not the biggest difference, at least in the front with the LED bar. It's split here, but still. But yeah, it's not ugly. You can claim it's a little bit boring, but then again, VW saloons were never meant to be exciting. They're meant to be solid, proper, family, middle-of-the-road cars that do what you need them to do without delivering any surprises. It isn't meant to be a baby S-Class like the E-Class was once upon a time. It isn't meant to be a 5 Series. It's meant to be a car for every man or person. And it is. And it, even though this probably would make a very good drifting machine, particularly now on the snow, with you have almost 300 horses and 550 newtons in this one, so it's quick, and this is on dreadful road conditions. It's icy and slippery, so on proper summer tires it's probably even better. But it's not a sports car. It's not meant to be a sports car. Very comfortable driving experience so far, and I really enjoy it. They've made a properly good car of this one. Yes, you can argue that some parts of the interior are less padded than others, and some cheap plastics here and there, but not as much as in the first ID.3s, which were terrible. And it should have had a frunk. Yeah, well, neither of its competitors have frunks, I think. No. Unless you count the Volvo XC40 as a competitor, that has a frunk. Well, the Model 3 has. So, yes. Sorry, it does actually. But the Model 3 doesn't have the hatch opening, so yeah, you know, give and take. The i4 has a brighter interior, but it's a more expensive car than this. Even though the base i4 probably slightly overlaps in price. Oh my god! That happened. That has happened a few times. The wipers are going off. Actually, sometimes I'm thinking maybe I'm driving a Tesla, because the wipers keep doing strange things. And then no, I haven't engaged the autopilot here, because on these road conditions, I prefer to do the driving myself. Thank you very much. We're at 64%, indicated 244 kilometers. I have a massage seating as well. I forgot to mention that. This is massage seats, so you can you know, you can tell the car, because the voice control can tell it to navigate, for instance, to Berlin, and it does that for you, and it massages you, and you have your cruise control on. Yeah, what's not to like? And it charges probably pretty quickly, and I think got their software under control as well. And also this head-up display reads if it can see the lane dividing in the middle of the road. It can sometimes show you a yellow hazard line on the intelligent head-up display. I don't know what tires it runs, probably Continentals or Nokians or something. But it feels so safe and planted on these roads now. I'm wondering what kind of reception it's gonna get, because this is deserving of it. It looks good, it rides well, it's spacious enough. You might argue it's a bit pricey. Yeah, okay, I can see that, but this is the first edition. It probably comes with smaller batteries as it over time. I don't know if it has a heat pump, to be perfectly honest. And unlike in the Chinese cars, where, for instance, the some of them anyway, where the cars are great, they ride well, they give you a lot of equipment and all of that stuff. For instance, things like in some cars, navigation doesn't exist, and if it exists, it's not really all that well integrated. At least not in Europe. I don't know how things are in China. Maybe they're better. Oh yes, one thing here as well. It has a button to preheat the battery, precondition the battery, and it's a button, and it's easy to find and everything. You have, I think it's two touches on the screen, and you're there. It's a big screen that says start battery heating. Or it does so itself if you navigate on a road trip, for instance, or to the charger or whatever. Now, Kia Hyundai, they got battery preheating as a software update a year ago or something. They've done it so incomprehensive that even the salesperson couldn't figure it out. And I'm thinking, I love the Kia Hyundai products. You know that. They're brilliant. Like the EV6, for instance. Fabulous car. But things like that should be front and center and easy to find. Please integrate it properly and do it easy. Oh well. Now, thundering down the motorway at 100 kilometers an hour. I can do more. It doesn't look it, but it is icy here. If I have to brake, stand on it. I don't want to wreck this car. It's fairly quiet in there. It's not a bank vault quiet, but it's not meant to be. But it's not excessive either. It's decent, good enough, and you have plenty of power to get up to speed. Plenty of. The region is good. It's always been decent on the ID cars, actually. If you put it in brake, it gives you a nice progressive, strong region. There's auto hold, there's all that stuff. It's on, by the way. I tried to find a way to activate and deactivate it. It's just on. I don't know if it's by default. If it is by default, congratulations, you finally did it. But that's been it, hasn't it? With the typical the Passat and also the VW Golf, they've always made decent cars. After all, they have, and this is an example of that. It's 17 minus now, by the way, outside. And the consumption is 241 watt hours, which I think it's pretty good. Hello and good morning. It's a new day, it's a new possibility. We're not in the ID.7 right now, we're in the Yoshi, my old Model S. Simply because it's early in the morning, I have to charge the car, it's 20 degrees minus outside, it's cold, battery is low. I have places to be, so I need some power, and this thing uses an Eon just to heat the battery up when it is cold before it starts charging. But anyway, the VW ID.7 seats are great. You have the adjustable thigh support, which really I think should be an industry standard. Sadly, it isn't. Seats are good. You have your you're heated, they're cool, they're massaged, lights are decent, and you have the full LED matrix. It's almost as long as the Model S actually. It's almost 5 meters long, 2 meters wide. But it doesn't feel big and unwieldy. It's safe and predictable in its handling, even in the winter stay like we have now. And you have probably around 300 kilometers of range out of it on a day like yesterday, where we had, I think we averaged out minus 10 or 12 or something like that. So pretty good. And we did some motorway as well. That's impressive. So at around 60,000 euros, I think it's a good car. And unlike its competitors, the Xpeng P7, the Tesla Model 3, the BYD Han, and also to a certain degree the Mercedes EQE, none of them, except for the BMW i4, has the hatchback. So you have the big opening in the back. You can just, and if you have kids, you can just throw everything in there, trolleys and whatever. It sort of can't do the same in a Model 3. A Model 3 is cheaper, and it has probably more interior space, in some, with the frunk and the well and all that stuff. But you don't have the big opening for your stuff, and that might make a difference in your use case. It depends. So I think it's decently priced. And then of course, if they don't, when the wagon comes later this year or early next year or whatever, when it comes, if they don't price it far too high, I do really hope it sells well, because we need it's a proper saloon car. This is good to drive. It's a nice place to be. It's well judged suspension. There's no rattles or creaks or anything, even over atrociously icy roads like we have. It's quiet and refined. So yeah, I really hope they do well with this car. Everything is sort of fixed. The infotainment system and everything is just sorted out now. So a big thank you to Dallas Auto for lending me the car. Big thank you to you for watching. Do comment, subscribe, or like if you want to. And I will see you in the next video in another car, hopefully. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.